All right, Angie Gerber here to talk today about the difference between the old model and the new model of where real estate's going. Let's get right into it. So, going over to the old model, this I just found out this whole brick and mortar and broker owner in the way that a lot of the business is done today. That's your Keller Williams, Remax, Coldwell, Sotheby's, you name it. The brick and mortar model, which we'll go through, is the old model. And it was invented, established in 1906. So think about that. Think about how long ago that was. And there has been obviously, upgrades to it, such as when Keller Williams came on the scene. They did a lot with the cap model and then brought teams into the whole mix and everything. So there has been innovators along the way, but basically the whole model has been around and the same. And what it looks like is you have on top here your international a leader or an owner. So that would be, again, I'm Keller Williams in the beginning. I'm at eXp now, but my whole brick and mortar experience was with Keller Williams. So we'll say you're Gary Keller. This is the owners of these big brokerages that then go into a region. So they go into different regions of countries. So we have our North region, Southwest, whatever region you're in here in the United States. So they take over regions. And then within those regions, they have franchises where they find broker owners that take on most all the risks in the areas. And like when I was at Keller Williams, I don't even know, we probably had like 12 franchises within the little area that we were in regionally here in the Minneapolis, Minnesota area. My broker at the time, he owned four of them, but there were a lot of them that were just independent. And what that means is that when we got open houses or when we got withhelds, when we needed help, we only could go within our specific franchise owners' brokerages. So I was blessed that I had at least four to choose from. Many just have one, maybe two, but mostly one. So you just have one broker owner. And it's that broker owner's job to find a team lead and hire the admin. So, like when you walk into a Keller Williams or Coldwell, you have your front desk people, you have the people that does all your files, helps you out, really there to assist the agents. And then you have your team lead, whose sole purpose is to, again, run this broker's franchise and bring on agents. So we finally get to the agents at the bottom. So then you have your agents. They have to go ahead and recruit them, they have to keep them, they have to talk with them, and they have very, very big goals, and they're held to a high standard because this broker owner is taking on tens of thousands of dollars of risk every month to run this whole model. And if you step back a little bit and look at it, yes, just like most businesses, it's like a pyramid. So what happens is when down here, the agent sells something and a commission is earned, it then triggers and it pays for the building. It pays for the admin salaries. It pays the team leader. It pays lights and air conditioning, heat, whatever you need for your lease on that building. And then it goes broker owner, regional, leader. And on top of all of that, there's always been a franchise fee. And some agents, it's amazing as I talk to agents, don't even account for that. They're like, oh, yeah, I'm on a 95-5 split or 90-10 or whatever it would be. Oh, that's great. And what's your franchise fee? Oh, well, that's 6%. Oh, okay. What's your monthly fee? Well, that's $350. Oh, okay. So really know your numbers as you're looking at this old model and new model because things are changing. And that's where it gets fun and why I'm now at eXp. So old model right here. Now what the new model did is Glenn Stanford in 2009 was just like, Instead of having the agents here at the bottom of the pyramid so that when they make a commission, everyone else get paid, what would it look like if you had the owner up here? Whoops, maybe I could spell. So the owner up here and then the agent right alongside of them. Or again, kind of like right in here. So you have your owner and your agent right there together. How does that work? Well, what happens in the new model is actually your cloud-based model. So you have your cloud. We'll draw a little cloud platform. So it's along the same lines as Netflix. What Netflix did to Blockbuster. And Blockbuster, believe me, never saw it coming. They thought, no way are people going to sit at home and want to stream on a platform their movies. They like to come into the building and smell the popcorn and see all the movies in front of them and pick them and hold them, and they especially like those late fees when you forget to return your movie, which happened to me and my friends more times than not. They did not believe in the Netflix platform way of business one bit. And look, I don't even think there's one left. Maybe there's one Blockbuster left on the East Coast, but I highly doubt it. Netflix took over. And that is what's happening. You hear AI, and a lot of agents are just resisting it, and we don't want to be taken over. Well, it's not a matter of being taken over, it's adapting. It's coming alongside of all the technology and the way things are changing, because they are changing. So what Glenn Stanford decided to do is he's like, what we're going to do is we're going to do a lot of what Netflix did, or you could do Airbnb with hotels, or Uber with taxis. I mean, it goes on and on and on. It's happening everywhere. Amazon with JCPenney, Sears, the brick and mortar, they just sat and decided that it's never going to work. Well, look at Amazon now. This is working. Platform-based businesses are working in the way things are going. So Glenn decided that what he was going to do is take the expenses out, meaning he's taking the region out of it, that owner. He's taking the broker owner out of it, in the brick, in the mortar, and all the expenses that goes with having a building and having to fill the building. And then that got rid of, you don't need team leads, you don't need admins. What you have is then the agent comes up along here. So you have your agent and your owner. And his whole deal is to give 50-50 initiative. And what that means is when you pay in up until your cap at eXp, which is an 80-20 split, up to 16K. So once you hit that, you're at the 100% model. But as you're paying in your 20%, 50% of that goes to eXp platform to run the business, and 50% goes back to the agent. And think about that. So the reason you can do that is you have this savings, you have this savings, and you have this savings, because this is a cloud-based business that is on the platform. And the technology and the training and the 90,000 agents that are within this ecosystem is like nothing I've ever seen before. I mean, the announcements that are coming out this year, just wait for it. And what happened last year, I mean, our leadership at eXp is on top of it. You you can't partner with better. And there are so many different ways that we can come alongside leadership and build our wealth instead of all of these people's wealth. We can finally have an exit strategy from real estate instead of having to chase the next transaction, be technicians, and try to figure out how to do this. You can start now, because of all this savings, build your family's legacy of wealth. And there's a few different ways you can do that. So we have the cloud-based brokerage that we talk about. And then what you have is within eXp, you can gain stock awards. So you have equity in the company. Now there's 5 different ways to earn stock, which I'll go over on another video, because I want to do this series and keep it so you can follow them and look at each one and watch it over and over again. But stock, 5 different ways to earn stock and become an equity owner, agent owner in the company. Phenomenal. Game changer. I know people that have been here 1 to 2 years that no longer sell real estate because they can pour into other agents. They can show up and train. And just because of how they've done business and how they've grown, they don't have to. They still do, many of them, because that's what we love to do. And you can do what you already do, which is sell real estate and build your wealth at the same time. Nothing really changes except for the whole opportunity. And yeah, you don't go into a brick and mortar store, brick and mortar brokerage. However, you do have offices. You have Regis offices around the country, 3,000 of them that you can go to. And to be quite frank, I know a lot of agents, at least in the Minneapolis area, and teams with eXp that have buildings. You can still buy your own building or lease your own space or rent it, or we do a workspace. I mean, there are options and opportunities if you don't want to be stuck at home on an island in your own office. So think big picture. Just being able to save this gives you so many opportunities. And the third way, besides the cloud based, the stock is rev share. And this is what so many agents are really excited about, because what this does is, again, Keller Williams, because I'm familiar with them. If you're familiar with them, they have a 7-tier system, which is called profit share. So when the agent sells something and makes a commission, after everyone in the chain is paid, if there is profit left, the agents share in the profit, which I don't know how it's going now at Keller Williams, but when I was there, I rarely saw checks. And I know a couple agents did, but they got a big part of the revenue, or excuse me, the profit share, where I didn't really get much at all. My team did because I was actually under them, so I didn't even really have the opportunity to do profit share. I just didn't understand it. So that's why I love to do these videos, because I think so many people just don't understand what they don't understand. So what rev share is rev share is much like profit share, but it's flipped on its head with the agent at the top. So instead of on profit, it's on revenue. So every time a sale happens, while the agent is paying their 20% into eXp, there is the 50-50 initiative. So 50% at time of sale in closing goes to eXp to run the cloud-based platform and brokerage, and 50% goes to the agents who help the brokerage grow. You reward them. It's no different than when you're over here. So many people, what you do business, they like you, they trust you. They're like, oh, tell me more about Keller Williams or Coldwell or Remax. And you bring these agents over. What do you get for it? Well, I'm trying to think what I got. Maybe a $25 gift card, some cases a $100 gift card to a coffee shop, Starbucks. That's great and all, but what would it look like if year after year after year you could get stock 5 different ways, and you could get rev share on agents who came over and joined you at eXp, and you're already just doing the same thing you're doing right now, but it's not based on profits, it's based on revenue. It is game changing. And I tell you what, I want you to watch for my next video, because in the next one, I'm going to break down stock and how that looks and how the 5 ways that you can go about getting it. And then I'll also get into a rev share video, but this is just the overall old model versus new model. Again, 1906, it's time. It's happening. In my opinion, and many of my business partners' opinions, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. When will you join a cloud-based brokerage? And my personal opinion, eXp has been around since 2009. We've taken the bumps, we've taken the hits, we figured it out. I didn't get over here till 2022, and I'm in like the most beautiful part of it. a lot of agents have been here since the beginning, are 2015, 2017, and it is a much different company now because you have to go through your growing pains. It's much like adolescent or your teen years. You go through the hormones, you go through the acne, you go through the emotions up and down, you take your hits, you figure it all out and you mature. And then you're in your wisdom ages. I mean, I'm almost 50, so I've done my fair share of everything as most people have. And now I get to reflect back on it and I get to sit in the more wisdom of it, knowing that there's so much more to come. And that's a lot like eXp. There's tons of copycat platform cloud-based brokerages coming up, and I'm all for the competition. I think maybe one is kind of competition, but they're not even profitable yet, and you have to pay to be part of the rev share organization, and there's just so much. So as you're exploring, and you should explore, reach out to me. I would love to talk a little bit more. I can run you the numbers and show you the difference, especially in Minnesota. I've been able to keep so much more money in agents' pockets by doing the same thing they're already doing and help them build their wealth and their generational wealth that is also willable to your family and spouse. So if you ever want an exit strategy from real estate, which you should, look me up, let's talk more, and I'll show you how this can be done, because I'll tell you what, it's game change and life changing.